level, so at most you're talking about 2 blocks. At that point, just place that block under you. It's not that hard. With all that being said, why is this not in C tier? Well, that's because the potion is not the only way to get these. This is one of the lucky 6 effects that can be applied to the beacon, while also you can get it from other suspicious duplicates. This automatically makes any effect significantly better, as it will be constantly applied to the player so long as they're within range. At max level, that's 50 blocks horizontally and 384 even then, the effect lasts for 17 seconds. You can move quite a bit away before it officially runs out. So with that said, if you have 6 beacons, you can apply jump boost to maybe help navigate your base a bit. If you have a fence you want to jump up without doing the old permit trick with jump boost. This is definitely still the worst of the beacon effects though, which means it's gotta be quite low. If nothing else, this is another one that's fun to mess around with in creative mode. 19. Saturation. Not to be confused with the saturation mechanic, this essentially does the exact opposite of your Hunter Guard instead. Obviously that sounds extremely useful. However, this is an effect severely hurt by how you have to get it. You can only get it from Suspicious Stew and craft it with a dandelion or fortune. That makes this the best food source in the game by far, as it will fill up 6.5 points on the Hunter Bar. The problem is, you can't stack Suspicious Stew. If you want to carry 64 of them, you need to just carry the ingredients, which will take up 4 inventory slots. At that point, 4 stacks of golden carrots are much better, so it's hard to justify relying on this for food. I will say though, I have seen two quite useful phrases. So very, very early game, this works as a food source, but as you get further along, there's really no reason to use it. 18. Instant damage. This does exactly what you'd expect with damage. This has a potion, so I guess you can use this in combat, but it's a bit tricky since you can accidentally hit yourself too. It does deal quite a lot of damage, 6 hearts at max level, but if you play combat with standard weapons, it's just better. You can, however, make tipped arrows. These things are a beast, dealing 6 hearts. However, once you have power 5 on your bow, I don't really see much of a difference at all between that and arrows. Instant damage 2 arrows are so much more expensive to make than regular arrows, plus they don't work with immunity, so I personally find it hard to justify. On top of that, instant damage will actually heal undead mobs, which makes these even less practical in combat. To be fair though, that does give these potions an extra use, as sometimes you may want to keep the zombie alive in order to protect villagers from having trains. So yeah, there are definitely uses for this, I just think it's a bit too specific and hard to use, especially compared to what we have coming up later. It does make witches pretty scary to fight though, so that's it. 17. Absorption. I'll be honest, this one was really hard for me to place. This will give the player using it extra hearts, which is obviously quite cool. The amount of hearts will vary based on the source of the effect. You can get it from golden apples, enchanted golden apples, and food.
Yeah!
Golden apple will give you 2 hearts, the total 4 hearts,
Wow.
and enchanted golden apple 8 hearts. Having extra hearts obviously prevents you from dying too easily, but at the same time, I've never really found myself desperately looking for extra hearts. This is gonna sound like a massive brag, but I don't really get close to dying that much, so the 2 extra hearts really don't have any effect. I guess they're nice after a totem to make sure you don't die again right after, and having extra hearts before it does certainly help, but then again, there's never a good reason to fight for it, so I'm not even sure we should consider that help. I'm sure some people would put this up higher, but for me, I think this is a good spot. 16. Dolphin's Grace. Just like Saturation, this one is murdered by how you have to get it. The effect itself is really nice, allowing you to swim in water significantly faster. Heck, you don't even need to be swimming. If you run on water block slabs with the effect active, you can run faster as well. The problem is, the only way to get this is by swimming near a dolphin. Now, yeah, that is pretty easy to just come across while exploring the ocean, which is what puts this up higher than Saturation, for example. But if you ever want to keep the dolphin in a specific place, see, dolphins have the unique mechanic of requiring both water and air to survive, so you have to make a super weird setup to keep them alive in one spot. But sometimes the dolphins will just respawn. Yeah, they just die sometimes. So for making cool effects dragged down by the way you get it, I think 16 is fair. 15. Night Vision. This lets you see in dark areas, basically making everything appear in brightness. That's a really nice effect, and if you've seen any of my videos on this game, you'll notice that I use it for some of the footage. The only problem is, there's never a time I need. Sure, it almost always can be helpful, but I felt like I wouldn't be able to continue on without it, if that makes sense. It does have a potion, so it's easy to access, but I find it hard to justify reserving a slot in my inventory for, when most of the time I can see the dirt right. But you can also get it from there is one thing that I think they should have done with this effect, is it would make it so much more useful. I think this should have been a beacon effect. Being able to choose an area to have full vision feels like a perfect way to use a beacon. To also make it so you wouldn't have to worry about weird lighting in builds. Sometimes it can be hard to make it look good while also popping. I would much rather have this be an option, so I kind of hope they added it in the future, though I'm pretty sure they will. 14. Resistance. This simply lets you take less damage. Like Absorption is pretty helpful, but it's also not one I can say I seek out a lot. There are more ways to get this though, which I think makes it a bit better. lot, you still can die, so this isn't bad to have. 13, this is like poison. Actually, now with that description, you may think that it should belong here. However, there's a lot to this. First off, there's no potion in survival. The main way you'll get this to a wither skeleton is part of the reason why I never see it. In the description, you think this belongs in F tier. There is one item single-handedly carrying this all the way up to this tier. Suspicious wither burgers. To get this item, I have to wither kill any non-undead mob. They will then come grows. Aside from just looking for meat, this has a very valuable property of effect to every mob that comes in contact with it. That means it can be easily used to make an automatic mob kill, which from my research is most helpful for packing new barbs since they don't find effective ones. On top of that though, this won't affect the wither skeleton, which means they can actually spawn on it. This leads to significantly faster wither skeleton barbs as the other nether fortress mob will off of that. This effect definitely has its uses, but while most of the time you see it difficulty against you, I think it's helpful enough to keep that reason. Well, conduit power. This is probably the most complicated effect we've touched on so far. It's basically 3 effects combined into one, those being night vision, water breathing, and haze. Now you may be wondering, we haven't seen water breathing in these things, so why would an effect that has both go together? Well, it simply comes down to how you get it. I'm sure you'd never guess it, and you can only get it from a conduit. Essentially, this is an underwater beacon. I would say it's probably easier to get a conduit than it is beacons, to only get harder to see and eat out of the shells, but the effect only activates in water. Since haze can be gotten on land, I think it by itself is better. As for water breathing, sure, this is definitely helpful if you plan on spending a lot of time underwater in one spot, but I think most of the time you'd want to be breathing underwater is because your range of a conduit is only 3 long, so it's very helpful if you want to build an ocean base, but besides that, it's a bit hard to use effect. Now it's time for our A tier, 11 instant health. This is the same thing as instant damage, but instead of dying, it heals you. This can be pretty helpful for getting a quick refill on hearts if you're in a tough spot, like dying from In my opinion, the most important thing about this is that since it's a potion, it's great to do on the top. Sometimes this speaking will create overload and drain long, so it's nice to have a way to kill villagers on the other hand, undead will also take damage from this health, so I guess you can use it in combat as well. 10 regeneration. This is very similar to the last one as it also heals you. This time though, it does it over a short span of time rather than instant. Regen potions will generally heal more health overall. Sadly, regen is a bit more expensive, requiring a gas tier as opposed to instant health. While that may seem like a downside big enough to put it below instant health, the thing I think puts it above is the fact that there are more ways to use regen. For starters, our old friend Suspicious Stew can give it to us if they move on side base. Additionally, the 3 explosion items before over the apples and totems give us regeneration as well, which is your health. Importantly though, regeneration is constantly heal so long as you can breathe. Also, I should mention that mobs can get regeneration in different ways. Villagers can get it by unlocking trades, spiders can rarely spawn with it on hard mode, and axolotls can get it by either killing a mob or being low in health. So for being a bit more versatile, I think regeneration gets the edge. 9. Slow fall. Okay, I know this one may be a bit controversial, but here we go. This lets you fall slower, but most importantly, you won't take any fall damage while this is active. That's obviously a really nice benefit, but most of the time you fall off something is by doing mistakes, so you won't usually have enough time to drink the potion. While I do agree with that, there are 2 major exceptions that make this potion a must-have. Both of these uses take place in the end: Dragon Fight and End Cities. Let's start with the fight. One of the dragon's most infamous abilities is to send the player flying into the air. This is almost always a guaranteed death, unless you're skilled enough like me to MLG water bucket. That trick can be fairly difficult though, so by just having a slow falling potion, you can stop yourself from being
the thing with the joystick.
In my opinion, it's a must-have, since the Ender Dragon is the main boss.
And like the controller I have right now is that it actually locks in the 8 directions, which is a good thing for the most part, but
slow falling is probably not that helpful outside of these specific scenarios, but these specific scenarios are important ones, so the slow falling potion gives them these highly, and since the same fans and membranes,
I hate this shrine.
for once in its life, it does something good. 8. Strength. This makes your attacks deal more damage. Obviously, this is pretty dang helpful, and the amount your attacks get boosted is quite significant. On top of that, this not only has a potion, but also a beacon effect, so if there's a specific location you want strength, you can do that. Zombie villagers also get strength while being cured, and spiders can rarely spawn with it. Something is more I have to add on here because it's pretty obvious. 7 speed. This makes you run faster. Once again, another one that I think is an obvious one is the pop. Being able to move quickly is a huge benefit, and on top of that, it's another beacon. This is usually the first one I call on my since having extra speed in your base can save you getting out of the top. Sure, it's not the fastest travel method, it's stuff like the electric faster, but if you're around in a small area, speed is probably more helpful. Oh, and spiders can really solve the hard. 6. Weakness. It sounds like really lacking in the game's weakness. On the surface level, this just makes people do they have attacks. This is a potion so you can give it to other mobs, but as I've said before, I don't really find myself dying much anyway, so a weakness potion is not that much. We're just gonna attack with weakness potions and suspicious dude to give it to you. But obviously that's not gonna put it all the way up here at number 6. So far, this effect sounds like complete garbage. Before you realize that it's used to cure zombie villagers. Yeah, so if you didn't know, by splashing a weakness potion apple will eventually transform back into a Pokemon. Villagers are obviously extremely helpful as they trade with you and get you important items like mending bugs and golden berries. Now yes, you could just find a village without going through the trade process, but you'd be missing out on some sweet deals. See, after you cure a villager, they will thank you by reducing how much you can pay for trades. Right now, these discounts can get as crazy as 1 stick full of ammo. Yeah, this has led players to set up their trading calls on zombies to infect villagers so the player can cure them, which is pretty smart. Now I do want to mention that this feature is going to be nerfed in the future, as Mojang just released a snapshot no longer allowing computer bugs to stack. I think that's probably a fair change honestly, but since this is a 1.20.1 ranking, I'm considering weakness how it is now. Plus, in the future, when we need swamp villagers specifically for vending bugs, you can save yourself a lot of time by curing a zombie villager that spawned in a swamp rather than transporting villagers and breeding them. So in my opinion, I think weakness definitely deserves a place quite high on this list. But now it's on to our top 5 in S tier. Honestly, weakness is probably useful enough to place out here too, but I wanted to keep this as purely top 5. So, what do we got? 5. Hero of the Village. Next to Conduit Power, I'd say this is the most complicated effect. First, let's start off with how you get it. After completing a raid, you'll have this effect applied to you for an insane 40 minutes. This has 2 main effects. At level 1, it will decrease the price for any villager's trades by 30%. At level 5, that goes up to 35%. As I explained in the weakness section, that's pretty helpful. Sure, it won't get you as insane deals, but this is also much less costly or difficult to set up. Plus, it's also going to stay in the game when you're doing this one. The other thing that this effect does is let you receive gifts from villagers. After completing a raid, they'll have a chance to throw items at you based on your type. Some of that stuff can be pretty helpful, so if you want to, you can set up a specific bag to get all of the resources. In my opinion, this is a very powerful thing. 4. Water breathing. This lets you breathe underwater for the duration of the potion. This is incredibly helpful as the Minecraft oceans have a lot to explore. Ocean monuments, shipwrecks, ocean ruins, underwater caves, and more are all helped by having a water breathing potion. Sure, you can save yourself a bit by making it your coming or water breathing takes the stress of being able to leave your area. Now I did mention that this was one of the effects given to you by the content earlier, so why is this up higher? Well, simply because it's a potion and you can use it anywhere. And versatility is extremely important, especially since making a lot of these mostly about exploration rather than staying in the spot. Additionally, you get this effect with eternal health. It will instantly replenish whenever you breathe air, making this extremely important. Despite literally having bad in the name, this is definitely one of the best effects in the game. You get this by killing a villager captain, or in other words, a villager with a banner on its head. This effect is what activates the game's raid again. If you walk into a village while the effect is applied, a raid will begin. While this can be inconvenient sometimes, more often than not, this is super helpful. That's because raids are some of the best drops you can ask for. Raids will spawn with 5 different mobs: Villager, Vindicator, Ravager, Witch, and Gnome. Each of them have a really solid selection of drops. The Villager can drop crossbows and obvious banners, and the Ravager can drop saddles. Both are pretty mad, but the other 3 mobs are quite important. Vindicators can drop axes, obvious banners, and emeralds. Witch can drop sticks, glass bottles, dust, redstone.
I believe this is... It is! How have I never noticed this now, until just now?
Emeralds and the Totem of Unagi. The Totem is one of the best items in the game since it stops people from dying. That open effect not only makes the item easily accessible, but also farmable. This is the big thing that makes this effect up, because it can be used to make raids farm. It's one of those powerful farm types in the game. I honestly wouldn't blame you if that puts this effect into 1. The only reason I didn't want to do that here is because there are quite a few times you don't want the effect and have to activate for it, because the bigger raid can take a lot of time. Still though, this effect easily deserves to be in this instance. 2. Fire resistance. This is the best potion in the game. It allows you to be fully immune to fire or other damage. Lava in particular is probably one of the most deadly sources of damage in the game. If you accidentally slip in the nether, you can very easily die if you don't have a food in your hand. Luckily though, lava doesn't kill you fast enough with good gear to make drinking a potion on reaction impossible. In fact, you have plenty of time. Around 36 seconds will protect you from netherite at full health and saturation. And that's assuming you don't eat while you're down there. So with that being said, I'm going to now use the rest of the segment to complain, because I think my enchantment tier list had one of the most annoying comment sections I have ever had on a YouTube video. So many people thought I was insane for putting the fire protection enchantment at the third lowest spot, but it is completely worthless. Now, disagreeing is fine, my lists are just my opinion, but some of you guys were annoying about it, so I'm going to use this opportunity to disprove some of the claims I got. No hate to these particular commenters, by the way. Most of these aren't the greatest I could find. They were just easy to comment on, and also if you want to skip this video. I can't believe you played so dirty with fire protection. Would you really rather spend more inventory space on fire potions than enchanted barricades to the enchantment? Yes, look at this comparison. You only take 1 heart from a Vindicator with Prop 4, but 2 hearts if you have even 1 piece enchanted fire protection. That damage can stack up quickly, and it is not a worthwhile trade-off when I can do fire protection job better with a fire rise potion. There's a limit on how much protection you can have on armor, so fire protection is actually good, because if you have fire protection, dying in fire or lava is basically impossible. If you have a fire resistance potion, dying in fire or lava is impossible. Fire protection makes the fire debuff much shorter. Sacrificing 1 prop 4 for shorter fire is worth it because you aren't going to die anyways. Taking an extra heart of damage per attack is not worth the little fire effect going away if you sacrifice. Fire protection decreases the time you're on fire, even if you only have no armor. This comment is the same as the last one, but I just wanted to focus on one thought. He knows, just for some godforsaken reason doesn't care. I swear this guy never goes ancient debris mining, let alone goes to the nether at all. I just don't jump into lava like an idiot! And if I somehow slip in, I can just walk away because my armor lets me last for 36 seconds. But if I somehow really mess up and go into a lava potion, which I probably haven't done in years, I have a fire resistance potion ready to save me. Last one, but I just wanted to focus on the plot. He knows, he just for some godforsaken reason doesn't care. I swear this guy never goes to I just don't jump into lava like an idiot! And if I somehow slip in, I can just walk away because my armor lets me last for 36 seconds. But if I somehow really mess up and go into a lava potion, which I probably haven't done in years, I have a fire resistance potion ready to save me. If I didn't see this, I probably would have just got a piece of armor with fire protection and called it that. Combine fire protection with regular protection against simple damage. And fire protection is good when you don't have good enchantments. You're literally calling it bad! Potions are a waste of inventory space and won't last for even its cost. Fire protection equipment combined with protection is cost. It only lasts for a little over a minute in lava with fire protection. 8 minutes for the potion is longer than that. Dude, fire protection? Someone clearly never goes to the nether. No, I just don't fall into lava, and if I ever do, literally stop watching fire protection at last because I can't take it seriously. Well, I'm playing on a private server.
Okay.
I just think it's really funny because having to get 300 people I'll take up fire protection. I'm totally okay, I think that's all I wanted to cover. Again, no hate to any of them. I just think it's funny that having fire resistance negates any reason to want fire protection. Yeah, this is well, only 1 more to go, so let's take a look at what hates. This lets you mine fire, which is obviously very important. This next is the efficiency of it can mine enemies easily. Phase 2 and efficiency 5, you're able to instantly clean your stone, which will result in stones. According to though, while this sadly is also you can both weak it, have the ability to mine bigger ones and ones in the last. This isn't like an undeniable person. I can understand someone wanting that. Also, I said to mention power because it works on land. I think that's pretty obvious, but just in case anyone doesn't know. So yeah, at least in my opinion, Case is the absolute best effect. Anyways, that's it for this video. Are you mad that I didn't include the fatal poison effect for the bedrock conditions in this list? Let me know in the comments. I really hope this video is less controversial than my enchantment one. When I put that one out, I thought it'd be my least controversial ranking ever, but I guess not, so we'll have to see how this works. Anyways, my votes for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.
That side quest isn't worth doing right now. It's the wrong way. Actually, this is a fine way.
An idea for a video like this, but in this video, I want to talk about the underground theme. Where did this music come from? Why does it work so well? What's up with that weird name?
Black Hinox.
What's up with the time signature? Well, let's talk about it. The underground theme is already so ingrained in your memory that I feel dumb introducing it. I bet you could write this next paragraph of the video for me. It starts with this short motif. 3 notes moving from C to A on 3 flat, with each note played and then repeated up an octave. This figure takes up half of the bar, leaving the rest of the bar hanging in silence before the motif repeats itself. We move the whole thing down a bit, starting on F instead of C, and then we lead into this great twisty chromatic line that closes off the loop. The full bar of silence after that ending line is so perfect. It gives you just enough space to go, what the hell was that? Before it kicks back up again. If you think about it too hard, it's like a really bizarre music far removed from the catchy, joyful melodies that come to mind when we think of our favorite athletic plumber. But remember the context of where this piece appears in the games. Players have just finished bopping around their first Super Mario level, jumping along to an upbeat soundtrack with syncopated rhythms and bouncy major melodies, only to descend into a pipe and come out in silence, caverns underground expanse. The emptiness of the piece, the space left hanging in between statements of that famous motif, emphasizes.
Man, I love this song. It's such a shame. It's such a shame you have to go out of your way to try listening to this song. In Tears of the Kingdom.
It evokes the kind of reverberated echo you get with smaller sounds in this kind of space, like your footsteps echoing back at you as you make your way through the cave. This has been discovered for a while now, but the main iconic motif of the underground theme did originally appear in the track Let's Not Talk About It by Don Grusin off of a 1979 jazz fusion album called It's a very different vibe from what we get with our underground theme, but you cannot deny the resemblance. Listening to this tune back to back with the Mario Bros. Version, it's weird that this melody found its way into Donkey Kongo's brain before it worked on this game. Whether he meant to take that or not, this isn't the only example of Kondo's work being heavily inspired by other sources, but anyone who's tried to write any music has experienced the ego destruction of working so hard on a really pure expression of your soul, only to be informed that you have in fact just rewritten Stairway to Heaven. I don't know how you didn't notice that. It's like the most famous song ever written. I've read an interview with Koji Kondo that around the time he was writing music for the original Mario and Zelda, he was spending a ton of time listening to this one particular radio station that would play all kinds of different music from all over the world. So it's possible that he heard this tune once on the radio, had that main figure stick in his ear, and forgot where it came from when the time came to put together the underground theme. Or maybe he wasn't I don't really care. Either way, the value of this piece is in the placement of the ideas and how they're used to enhance the game, rather than their originality. The comparison with the original Friendship version is interesting though, because it is also written in 6/4 time. But such a great theme deserves to be reused throughout the series, And as the piece evolved, the time signature changed too. With Super Mario Bros. 3, the underground theme was straightened out into 4/4 time, with a longer gap inserted in the logic statements to fit this time signature. The space was also filled in with a funky drum beat, and these changes were carried through to basically every iteration of the game used throughout the series since. While the funky drums do bring us a little closer to the tune's jazz fusion roots, I think it loses a lot of the cavernous ambience that made the tune work so well for the setting. Personally, I have to say I am a 6-foot purist. Okay, but let's get into the real meat of the video. What makes this piece so great? First of all, the motif has this ambiguity to it. C to A to B flat emphasizes the first note and the third note of C, and then the push and pull moving between that and the flat 7 that brings out into the void of the figure. But there just aren't enough notes for us to get a clear picture into the tonality being applied. Is a minor chord, a minor chord, a sus chord? It's all up to your imagination, and this ambiguity leads to a feeling of being lost, not knowing exactly where you're going. It's a great contrast to the straightforward, the upbeat music of the overworld levels. Moving from the 1 chord, whatever kind of 1 chord it is, to the 4 chord in bar 3 here is a very strong chord. Each chord is flat 7. This jump feels reminiscent of the third harmony. And the blues form is so baked into everyone's ears at this point that it makes the music start to make sense. You take the most discordant, nonsensical groups of notes and rhythms and move it through a blues form, and everyone will be able to follow it no longer. Rather than continuing this one, though, the final phrase of the underground veers off in a totally different direction. The winding chromatic line that ends on the piece is not taken from any jazz fusion deep cuts. As far as I know, this line is all Koji Kondo. It creates great hypnotic quality being lost one round great chromatic stance, and this is directions chromatic. It's a disorienting effect that screeches to a halt at the end.
First fucking try, let's go.
How did Kondo write this line? Well, there is an underlying logic being used here to create the desired effect. See if we break it down a little bit. The first 6 notes are jumping from a C to a D to a G and then landing back on a C. Each note preceded by the note a half step above it. E flat moves down to A flat moves down to G, and then E flat moves down to C. This chromatic motion creates flashes. The line itself obliterates our sense of key and creates a jarring quality, but the underlying structure of C creates a very tangible sound movement back towards the C that starts the following bar. 5-1 bass line with very common resolution. The following bar continues the same idea of chromatically approaching notes. Taking just the notes of the strong beats, we see the line moving up from a C to an E to an A flat, outlining a C octave triad, which by itself can have a great effect. On top of this, though, the triplet notes in between approach these notes with 2 chromatic steps down each. We're just doubling up on the same chromatic approach idea that we saw in the last bar. This A flat pivots to a different tonality, kicking off a quarter note triplet run down an A flat minor triad, a big step away from our own key of C. When this plays into the general ambiguity of the piece, the chromatic approach notes used are meant to keep us from feeling a strong sense of key, and pivoting here from C to an A flat minor sound plays into that. We're lost in underground pain, chased into pits by giant turtles. I imagine Mario must be feeling pretty stressed out in these levels. This A flat minor triad continues runs down the chromatic from the word to the root to end on the loop, and this transition from an obvious arpeggio into chromatic motion has this great feeling of the whole piece and all the part on it. Descending into chaos and all. Here, when you slow it down, the music is just trailing properties thanks to the approachability of its ideas, the complexity of its execution, and how well it creates the setting it was originally written to capture. Made this to embrace all Mario games for generations. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to support the channel, you can do so over at Patreon. I transcribe all of the sheets that you see in these videos myself, and I make it all available to patrons who donate $5 for the video. So if that interests you, come check it out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
It's your Golden Beach and Beach Halloween. Welcome to part 2 of my spooky special. In case you missed it, part 1 is already up and covers a recap and wider perspective of Hyrule's recent horrors, such as the Great Calamity and the Upheaval. I've linked the Hey folks, the Kingdom of Hyrule, seen across the two Wild Era games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, has improved. Other iterations of the kingdom have experienced horror too. Take major flooding, land turned into darkness, but none truly set in as much as this version of the kingdom. I believe that is largely down to the fact we experience both the horror event and the aftermath. We, as the player, played through the aftermath of Calamity Ganon's attack, as well as Ganondorf's return.